Well, good morning, everyone. I hope you can hear me okay. This is my first time live streaming straight from uh, my iPad. So let's see how that goes. So yeah, before we get started, I'm Theo. I am the owner of Theo Bennison Art and Design. I have a feeling that soon I'm going to be changing the name though. I feel like a rebrand is due and I want something more short and snappy. And I've been using this name for quite a while, but it just never felt like mine. Even though it is my name, it just doesn't feel like snappy enough. And with the way that my art has been sort of moving and traveling, um, in its stylization, the way that it's been developing over time, I feel like it's too rigid. I feel like my style has gotten way more, not comic book style, but more illustrative. Like, even though I started out doing more scientific illustration kind of thing, now I feel like I've definitely got more outside of the rigidity of trying to copy things like just as they are. Um, and that's not to say that I'm never going to paint more scientific illustration kind of vibes, because it's something I really like doing with watercolor, for example. And I hope to have a space soon where I can live stream some of that as well. So yeah, that's basically what I'm thinking lately. And just to add, I've just come back from sea. I got back in the early hours of yesterday morning. I was out in Portugal, on the continental shelf, and basically saw lots of really cool things. So saw some common dolphins, some bottlenose dolphins, minke whales, saw pilot whales for the first time, which was awesome. And I also saw lots of sunfish, the mola mola. So maybe I'm going to do that in the future on a t-shirt. So I'm just going to add that to my ever-growing list of things I want to do with the art. Mola mola. There we go. Just type that down so I don't forget. But yeah, it was really fun. Even though it was work, I'm really lucky that I get to go to sea and then see all these really cool things. I saw a shark breach, which is where it jumps out of the water and just slams back down. So that was cool. I didn't get to see what type of shark it was because it was so fast. Like it was there and then it wasn't. Yeah, no sea turtles, unfortunately. One of the other boats that were working with us did see some sea turtles, but I didn't see any. But that's the way it goes. I'm just glad that I got to see what I did. Loads of birds as well, like so many different types of seagulls. So herring gulls, lesser blackback gulls, greater blackback gulls, Mediterranean gulls, black-headed gulls, Arctic terns even, which I often see in Scotland, seeing Scotland, which is really cool. But I don't know if they live there in Portugal or if they're just traveling down to somewhere on their migration. But yeah, it was a nice boat, and I mean, it was small. Like the accommodation block was really small. The boat itself wasn't small, but it had a nice gym, best gym I've ever been in on a boat. Which is really funny because a lot of my colleagues in the field have been on like these huge ships, which are about, the same space as you'd get on a housing estate of 152 houses, which is obscene. But they just have like these full-size gyms all we had in this one was like a treadmill and an indoor bike and some dumbbells, a Smith machine and a cable machine, but it was still more space than I've ever had on a vessel gym. So there we go. Anyway, so getting into the art. So I've decided I'm long overdue some new t-shirt designs. So if you have been following me for a while, and for a while, I mean, I think I started doing this sort of thing maybe 2016, 17, and I've been so inconsistent because, well, life, right? So, um, I did bring out the Sea Life manga series, which is still live on Teespring and still does occasionally make sales. Um, but mostly I just haven't done any new t-shirt designs. So I think the reason for that is possibly just it's a different beast. It requires a different, like, I can't just like, for if I do a painting, then I do the painting and it's done. Like with this, like I have to make sure that my design isn't too much for the t-shirt. Especially because using something like made to order or drop shipping like Teespring, so they handle all the printing, all the folding up and packaging and sending, so I have nothing to do with that. It's kind of like Redbubble in that I just upload my design and then they organize it and send it away. But it just, I don't have a lot to do with the after I've uploaded my design part. And maybe in the future, if I pull my finger out and do some more art, and I've definitely got means to do art as I travel now, and both traditional but mainly sketching because taking my paints everywhere is quite difficult, but also digital art on my iPad, which is sweet. So I'm hoping that as time goes on we can get some more community going, a bit more um, back and forth with people who do like my artwork, and then hopefully in the next 5 years or so I live in a house instead of a room in a flat, and I can actually start having more to do with the output of that design. So what I mean by that is I can order these t-shirts, which are really good quality t-shirts, and I can pick this printer and say, hey, what kind of printing do you do, and can we look at doing this, and like basically work with a printer and have stock instead of this drop shipping, which is all I can do right now. You know, I'm bound by the constraints of mundane life, but there we go. Quick coffee. Yeah, so that's basically it. And at the moment I'm just streaming from my iPad because I'm waiting for a desk that I've ordered to arrive. I'm hoping to get my camera set up so you can actually see my hands as I'm working. I'm gesturing and you can't see me. I've got my little VTuber on the go though, because I look awful today and I don't really want you to see my bedraggled self. But yeah, hopefully you could be able to see like my hands in future, and we can have a few more angles on what's going on, because you know when you're just like hi on here, it just sort of appears in a ghostly way. So moving on to the artwork itself then, I guess we have got here a little vague sketch, and I have warped it a little bit to try and get a better sense of how it's going to look in terms of perspective and stuff, so it does look a little bit funny. But I've just done a really basic sketch of like some astronaut here, and this is because the other day on my Instagram, and if you're not following, it's at Theo B Art Design, not Theo Art Design like I am on Twitch. And again, this is all going to change in the future because I'm rebranding to something a little bit more snappy. But I ran a poll and basically put up 4 t-shirt ideas that I wanted to sketch for today's live stream. And basically the 2 that won were this one, which I've called Cosmic Diver, and the other one, which is a skating skate. and I think I'm going to save that one for next week because I've only got this stream until 2 o'clock today because I've got other things to do, and I want to really concentrate on the details of this one because I think it's going to be really cool. So my idea was, and it's probably not original at all, but I'm going to do my take on it, you know, that's fine. I don't think anything's original anymore, really, if you think about it. So yeah, I was thinking we have like maybe a spacey background, but not too, like, I don't want to make it too, what's the word? Detailed, that's it. I don't want to make it too detailed because I want this astronaut to be the main thing. And I'm not sure if I want to, like, you know, oops, I'm on the wrong thing. I just want to move you, baby. I'm not sure if I want to make him like, ooh, like, you know, like come off the side and not have all the other parts of him like there, because I don't know if I want to focus on the flesh or if we have like a whole body. So we'll figure that out as we go. Maybe I'll do 2 different ones and then I'll put a post up and we can see which one wins out. And of course I'll try and get this on unisex t-shirts, women's fit t-shirts, and some mugs, and then we'll see how we go. Prints wise, I have an Etsy as well, so that I do work with a supplier and print off things, and I'm actually looking for a new one at the moment because the one I used to use, and I haven't had anything printed in ages, the one I used to use has closed down. It was also a big controversial thing that happened with them, where they just basically did everybody over, so I don't really want to support that kind of behavior. So if you do have any recommendations on UK based good quality printers, artwork quality printers, that would be stunning. Yeah, so let's see how this turns out anyway. So the idea is cosmic diver, we've got an astronaut here, they're in space, and in the helmet I want a little fish, and I also want a little crab. So I think maybe this is going to turn out like, yeah, with a much more close-up version here, rather than doing the rest of it. So maybe this stream I'll just focus on the head of it, or maybe I won't, because if I do that I'll never finish the whole astronaut body. So let's see about doing some astronaut first, because that's going to be the most time consuming. And again, knowing what I'm like, I just, you know, I try to do things and sometimes they don't turn out, and I think that's important because a lot of, I mean, I found a lot of the people I follow are really good at doing like, hey look, I also struggle with this, or hey look, I also sometimes have to trace, or whatever it might be. And I think it's just really nice to have evidence of like people having different, not limitations, but different skill sets, and when they have to go outside of that skill set, if they can't do it, then they use a tool. And I think that's really important. Like, even my iPad's a tool, right? Because I can do whatever I want and undo it with no consequence. If I'm working traditionally, that's a little bit different. I can't necessarily undo what I've done, so especially when I'm using watercolor. So this is going to be an experiment in itself because I don't draw humanoid figures ever. So I've sort of just done this loose astronaut floating in space sort of thing. Now we're going to see how this turns out. So all I'm going to do is I've got this blue sketch down, and I think I've turned the opacity, no, I've not done that yet. So I'm going to turn the opacity down a little bit, just so that it's not overtaking what I'm trying to do with this pink pencil I've got. And I'm just using peppermint here, which is, you know, the goat. Peppermint is the goat. Um, so I don't know where I want to start. I mean, instinct tells me start at the head, but I feel like if I do that, then I'm just going to get caught up in all those details, and then I'm going to be like, oh, I don't want to do the rest of this Spaceman because I am lazy. And I think that's something else that I'm really coming to grips with recently, is that if I take my time and trust the process, and this is, you know, what everybody says, trust the process, but if you do that, you get through all the crap and all of the like, oh, this is going to turn out terrible. Like your painting or your artwork comes to life in those last, you know, hours you're putting into it, really. So I'm going to try and take my time. I'm going to try and trust the process. And you know what? If we don't finish this today, then so what? So what? I'll finish it another day, or I'll finish it off stream, or we go a little bit longer. Whatever it might be that turns out, who knows? I don't know. So I think space shoes would be kind of paneled. Also, apologies if I do have to run away for like moments. I'm kind of worried that the post is going to turn up, start knocking on my door. But yeah, I think space shoes would be like really paneled because they need a lot of layers, or maybe they'd be molded all in one. I really don't know. I'm not a space guy. But I also think they'd maybe have like this offset kind of like lace up feature. Would they have laces? I don't know. Maybe I'm gonna put like Velcro, maybe. And this is kind of similar to, oh, it looks like a rock climbing shoe, huh? Yeah, I don't like that immediately. Immediately, no. Let's take it back. Kind of looks funny with that lump out there. So that's what I mean. I don't ever draw people. So maybe I'll go less detailed and just do this, and then I know I can put straps across like that. I think the worst part for me is going to be fabric folds. So, you know, with spacesuits, they're quite bulky. I think they are getting more streamlined and like modernized as time goes on, you'd expect anyway. But I also, because I don't draw people, I never draw clothes, so I just sort of like wing it, and it always turns out awful. So let's just go with it anyway, because, you know, if you don't try, then you're never going to get better. And maybe this is something I could spend some time studying. And I hate that word because it implies that I've got any inclination of being good at studying, and I'm not. But what I am trying to be good at is just drawing for the sake of drawing and not necessarily being good at it. And I think that's also important because naturally the more you draw, like, the better you're going to get, and it's all in your muscle memory, and it doesn't necessarily have to be works of art every time. And I think something I watched by is it Chris Piasek, really cool illustrator slash like really good at lettering guy on YouTube. He was like, you don't have to produce works of art all the time, or it might have been Jazzer actually, one of the two anyway, and I'm pretty sure they probably both said the same thing, but it's just the art of doing it, just doing it for the sake of doing it, and not necessarily having, like, you don't want to sell everything you make, right? So it doesn't have to be saleable. And do you know what? I think that's really important because it's so much pressure to be like, oh, every time I live stream, for example, then I must produce a piece of saleable artwork, or every time I live stream, I must be promoting my artwork that I sell. And actually, I'm in a position where this is not my full-time job. This is something I do largely for fun, It is something I'd like to do more seriously, but right now that's not the case, and that's okay. And I think while I'm just out here doing some drawings, they don't have to be perfect and they don't have to be saleable, and that's literally fine. So I'm just going to try and figure out how some creases go in here. So I kind of want like a harness sort of thing, because like astronauts always have, if they're in spacewalk, they have like a big square thing on their back, right? But I don't want to put a big square thing on his back. So I do want a harness, because I kind of want this to be a bit more futuristic, in that like we have scaled down the equipment that the astronaut uses, so it's not so cumbersome, and now they can easily move around. Well, more easily move around. Yeah, so all I'm doing here is just trying to figure out how creases work in clothes, which is, you know, fun to do on a live stream. I think the best thing is just being authentic about the process, because most of the time I have no idea what I'm doing. I am completely self-taught, so I guess what I mean by that is that like everything, I've never officially been to, well, I haven't been in art class since I was 13. There we go. So it's not something that I've had official's not the right word. What is the word for it? I've not had classic tutoring. I've not had any teaching. I don't know. Anyway, you know what I'm trying to say. So I'm out here on my own, and nowadays it's so easy to go on YouTube and get tutorials and things like that. So actually, I guess I have been to the school of YouTube, and a lot of what I know is from the creators I follow. And if you're curious about who I follow for all of my tips, you can go and look on my YouTube channel, which is the same name as my Instagram, I think, which is Theo B Art Design. It will change soon, like I said, but those are a lot of the channels that I follow for not just information about how to do this and how to do that, but like actual inspiration as well, I think. And I think if you do go and check who I'm following, you'll see why I've sort of moved towards a more illustrative style. I mean, I guess move towards is the wrong word, because if you look at my Manga Sea Life series on Teespring, like it's not a new style for me, and it is something I've always been interested in, but I just don't feel like I've ever been able to just do it. And then I realized I'm a grown up and nobody can tell me not to do it, so I'm going to do it anyway. And you know what? If I break rules and if I do things wrong, like, so what? If it turns out right, great. If you see me do something and you know a better way, a more efficient way to do it, let me know. Like, I'm not going to be precious about any of this, because I'm out here not knowing what I'm doing in the first place, which is fine. And I think it's important to remember that, you know, unless you aren't an adult, you are an adult and you can do whatever you want. Even if that means, oh, I'm going to go to the supermarket and I'm going to buy some pens and some paper, and I want to start drawing in ballpoint. And I follow some excellent ballpoint pen artists over on Instagram. One of whom is a like horror artist, and she's really, really excellent at the way she uses the pens to produce her art. Her name is sarahbon.art, and I'm gonna try and put that in the comments. And this video is going to be put up on YouTube as well, so I will try to so it's Sarah Bone dot art is the ballpoint pen artist, and that's like, it's actually I think it's kind of a horror that she does. It's very emotional artwork, but it's incredible. Yeah, she's super good. Back to my spaceman. So yeah, even if you do that, even if you go out and go, oh, today I'm gonna start being an artist, and cool, good for you. That's literally all it takes. And you know, there's people who are really good at art just as they are. Lucky them. I mean, I say lucky them. I do have to admit, like, it is something that I've been interested in since I was a kid. My mum tells the story of the nurse coming to visit. I was at home when I was a toddler, so probably 2 years old, and the nurse took my drawing because it was so good. And so, like, I was 2 years old and able to draw. And I think what's important to recognize here is that, okay, I was above average for the age group I was drawing in, but did I put in the practice following that? Not really. So as I was growing up, I've always been a total lazy bones, and it's definitely come back to bite me on the bum now. But you know, I wasn't interested in trying to do the thing. I wasn't interested in, oh, let's look at, I don't know, values. Let's look at color theory. I wasn't interested in that. I just wanted to do the thing. I just wanted to make the thing. I didn't want to do any of the more academic kind of studying into things. I didn't want to give it any time because I was always in a rush, and that's definitely something that is still true today, is that I really struggle to give time, appropriate time, to a lot of things, actually. Any creation that I do, I didn't actually want that to be a straight line, to tell you the truth, Procreate. I just, I would go better, you know? And I really do have to remind myself to slow down a little bit, you know? I think forget that the only time scale I've got when I'm not doing commissions, which I haven't done in a long time, but the only time scale I've got is the one that I've set myself. And like, I could spend so much of the day just drawing, just enjoying myself. You know, I'm really lucky to be in that position with the job that I have now, is that like, if I'm not on shift, my time is mine. And I currently work 60 to 70% of the year just because of the kind of work that I do, where I'm away from home for weeks at a time, so I don't have to work as much as, say, somebody who works in a supermarket would or whatever. So yeah, I have time, and I don't know why I'm always in such a rush. I think part of it is because I have these images in my head, right, where I want to see it. I want it to be finished so I can look at it. And that's really annoying to have, because there's so many great artists out there who are so like deliberate with what they do, or like, you know, everything is thought out, and I'm just like, no, this is in my head, I've got to get it out onto the page. And I'm my own worst enemy, and it's probably true for a lot of artists as well. Is that they just want to finish, or they just see it finished, and it's not that they don't enjoy the process. Because I definitely enjoy the process. It's super common to just, create something. And if you haven't given it a try, you definitely should. Like I said earlier, it doesn't have to be saleable, but it's just like having this thing that you need to get out into the world, and you want people to enjoy it. You want people to share it with you, and yeah, it's a blessing and a curse to be rushing all the time, because I guess it does come in handy in terms of like when I do commissions, like I can rush a little bit. But actually, in the same vein, I try not to rush during commissions more than any other thing that I do, because that's something very specific that somebody has asked me to create for them, and inevitably it costs more than me doing a design, you looking at it going, oh, that's cool, I want that on a t-shirt, and buying a t-shirt, like I'm never gonna put anything on sale that I wouldn't wear myself, or I wouldn't want to wear. Like if I'm not happy with it, it's not going out. So yeah, it's just funny how much time I take, and while I'm talking about it, I'm making sure that I am being more deliberate with what I'm doing. Yeah, so I'm just doing some space gloves right now, and I really suck at drawing hands, so I'm just gonna like make sure that they aren't terrible. I'll do that. And if you think about the way, I don't know if you've ever worn work gloves of any kind, but work gloves are really stiff, and they kind of hold your hand almost like crabbed in, and I've definitely not done the right perspective for these fingies, so let's go back and do it again. Now we're gonna be here for the next 3 hours drawing hands, so hope you buckled up. Yeah, so maybe if I go back to this sketch here, go back to this color here, and I'm gonna go back to, I say I've never studied anything, but I'm not a complete idiot. I'm just looking at my own hand and figuring out how that would look. So first of all, I'm just gonna actually just delete this. Let's get rid of this because you're in my way. Okay. So if I've got the knuckles like that, and the side of the hands like there, so these need to move across a little bit, I think, and then I think what's going to end up happening is with work gloves, as I was saying, like your hands are stiff. You can't really keep them straight. So maybe balled up like that is a little bit better. Not quite balled up, you know what I mean? Also make sure things that are further away from you or partially hidden behind something else are going to be, smaller in appearance. So just make sure like big, medium, and then you can get smaller. And obviously the next layer I'll tidy this up a little bit. The other thing to remember as well is that your fingers aren't all the same size. So your middle finger is usually the longest one. You may have different results. And the other thing as well is that like with work gloves is that you can't necessarily, like this here is not as angular as it looks right now. Like it's more soft because the fabric tends to crease funny and like hold your hand in a given position. But yeah, I'm not sure I like how balled up these knuckles are actually. I kind of want to get them a bit straight. I told you we were gonna be in for maybe if I do a little like cascade of dynamicism in my fingies. So these are big fat fingers because the gloves are on. There we go. If I, yeah, just like hide that last one, and that gives you that, and then the thumb's gonna be like here, and then so yeah, like even though I've never done like traditional art class, I've never studied anatomy or anything, like, you know, I have hands. I have two, and if I don't have hands, then I have the internet to look at what hands look like. Yeah, it's a process, and that's okay. If you're curious about what I'm using in terms of equipment, I do have that listed down in the panels on my Twitch channel. However, I'm not currently using the laptop or the camera or anything because they're not here yet. Well, the camera is, but the laptop isn't, and the laptop that I do have is not suitable really for hosting live streams. Okay, so that turned out way better than expected, so maybe I just need to stop thinking so much. I am just gonna go through and rub out these knuckles, and I think I'm gonna start with that. I think I'm gonna put like little knuckle caps on, like motorbike. That's what I've got in my head, is motorbike gloves, crossed with ski gloves. They'd have a lot of protection, so at work, if I've got to do any lifting of heavy equipment, so if we're doing like grab sampling or something, then I have to wear impact gloves so that if this 200 kilo grab swings and hits my hand on something, like, it's not gonna hurt as much as it would with just like, I don't know, normal work gloves. So yeah, we'll see. I think I'm gonna have to like detail these out a little bit more. But yeah, there we go. There we go. Okay, when I take the thingy away underneath that, well, it kind of looks okay. Oops. I still don't really like the hand. I think it looks jank, but jeez, wrong layer. Classic wrong layer. I think I'm concentrating too much on this, so I will come back to it because otherwise we will be here the whole stream. So something I'm trying to do with these creases and stuff, like, I don't know what they make spacesuits out of, but I know that they have different layers, so I feel like they'd internally have like quite a lot of padding, probably some metallic sort of reflective heat shield, both for keeping your body heat in and reflecting the heat outwards if necessary, like especially if in the future we go to like Mercury or something, like we'd need spacesuits that can reflect all that heat because it's something daft like, I don't know, 290 degrees. Let's see. Let's Google it. Google can tell us. All right, so I was a bit far off. Yeah, the sun-facing side reaches highs of 430 degrees Celsius, and at night, the night side plummets to minus 180 degrees Celsius. So for anybody watching who doesn't use Celsius, sorry, but B, that's 800 degrees Fahrenheit at its highest and minus 290 degrees Fahrenheit at its lowest. So if I remember correctly, I don't think Mercury even spins. I think the core is dead. So it's got like one side that's constantly exposed to heat and one side that's constantly not exposed to the sun. Oh no, it does rotate. It does rotate. I was wrong. But still, like, yeah. The reason it gets so cold at night is because it has no atmosphere. So there we go. Every day is a school day. But yeah, they have different layers, and I feel like on the outside of the suit would be like a more movable, reactive shell, shall we say. Like, this needs to be able to not only keep everything inside, but also move around, like easily. So if you're on the outside of the space station or something, trying to, I don't know, fix something, you know, a node, a solar shield, a solar panel, who knows? Then you can move around appropriately, right? So I feel like they've had this almost polyester, not polyester, nylon. Like think of like a waterproof coat, or yeah, I guess polyester kind of works. Like how it moves smoothly over something, but has all these real interesting creases. And like I said earlier, I never draw clothes. I don't know how they sit. I've never studied anything. I'm just feeling it out, and that's all I can do. And I think I've got some sort of like patches on there. Might add some more for interest if I feel like it. So I'm gonna go do the other arm, and then we can move on to the helmet. And then I think we'll take a step back, have a look, maybe add some more patches and details. So I'm doing this sketch in Procreate. What I'm going to do afterwards, probably not on stream because we're already nearly an hour in. Probably gonna, well, what I will do is move it to Adobe Fresco. In Adobe Fresco, I've got vector brushes, and then I can go over the sketch that I've done with those vector brushes, and then that makes it scalable up to any size. So what that means is that I could have it on a stamp, but I could also put it on a billboard, you know, like it makes it so much easier to move your artwork between functions, I guess. So you don't lose any quality, you don't lose any detail, they just have different applications. It's so hard to think of words when you're on a live stream. It's funny because if anybody doesn't do this, you probably are watching your favorite streamers sometimes and you're like, what? And then actually you try doing it yourself and all of a sudden we're illiterate and unable to speak. Okay, so because I warped this design earlier to try and make it sit a bit better, I am going to quickly redo some of this. I'm just going to do it in like simple sort of cylinders though, just so I can get an idea of what the hell's going on. Let's do this. Get rid of those thingies. Okay, I think I'm going to be smart with this one. I'm just going to like hide as much of the, the fingers as I can, so maybe just have two. Hopefully that doesn't look silly. I'm not going to think about it too much. I'm just going to do it. Okay, so for a sketch, I think that's fine. Yeah, so you look like this one's coming down here, and it's kind of to the side. I kind of want this one like, so it's almost like falling away, like, you know, like you see in like, arms and legs going, it's kind of like a falling away. So maybe I want to bring that forward a little bit. Like, excuse me, I'd like to select. So this is the other thing about digital art, I guess, is that like you do have a nice redo. Like you can just move things. I try not to use it too much because when you're doing traditional artwork after it, you're like, if you forget, and that's usually catastrophic for your piece, you know, like kind of sucks. But that's the beauty of things, you know, like sometimes just have little accidents, just channel your inner Bob Ross and everything will be fine. So I'm just gonna redo these fingers again, even though I was like, oh, I'm just gonna feel it out. Well, I felt it out and it felt wrong, so we're going again. So I have to look at what the other side looks like just to remind me of the design I've chosen for this glove. So we're just kind of gonna go like that. And then these are 5 on the other side. Well, they are kind of forward, to be fair. Maybe I'll do that kind of perspective. These suck. I hope they're better when I go over them. Yeah, so the other thing as well is that sometimes the sketchy part is like so bad for me anyway that I'm just like, why am I even here? Why am I doing this? But then I trust the process and somehow things turn out. And that's not always true. It doesn't always turn out. But you know what? I always learn something, and that's the main thing. I think it's always good to be constantly able to take away a lesson from whatever you've done. Like if it's a new technique you've used, or you just thought, hey, I wonder if this works, and you try it. Even if it doesn't, like at least you know. Or maybe it doesn't work in the parameters that you've set for yourself, but you know, everything's always a learning process anyway, and you just gotta embrace it. I do tend to start sounding like a fortune cookie after a while, don't I? Right, so I'm trying to really force the perspective on this arm. So what that means, I think, is that we're gonna start getting like these wrinkles like foreshortened. So foreshortening is like where if you have like a, I don't know, like a rectangle like this, and it has like lines down it like this, and I want this side to be closer to the viewer and this side to be further away, then I would use perspective and put it like that. But the further away you get, the closer together those lines are going to be. So if you can imagine, I know that these aren't the same number, but I'm illustrating the point. If you can imagine, you could see this arm from the side, then this is what it would look like. But because we're looking at it from this false perspective where this side is further away and this side is closer, then we've got these shortened wrinkles in the material. And also actually because it is near the elbow, and it's also where, if I think about wearing my dry suit for diving, like it's where some of the bunching up does occur anyway, so it's always going to be more wrinkled than it would otherwise be, I guess. I'm not entirely certain, but you know, you're right. So if I do that, do I want another patch on this side? I don't think so. I think I'm going to keep the patch on the other side. I've got a patch up here as well, so I don't know. Maybe I'll change my mind, but you know, it's my work. I can do what I want. So yeah, I'm going to try and really force this arm to look like I want it to look. I'm just looking at that other glove that I got. You know what I'm going to do? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to... Where is it? If I go copy, paste... Whoa, hang on. That's not what I intended to do. I just wanted this little guy. Oh yeah, I see the button now. It's okay. Copy and paste. And then, yeah. So I'm just going to move this here. I'm going to delete my rambling over here. Still got my pixel brush activated from doing some pixel art the other day, which if you do like pixel art, come and join on Sunday. The stream will start at 12 p.m. British summertime. That's GMT +1. We got a 4-hour stream. I'm gonna be doing some pixel art. I might be doing some alert animation for this channel. So yeah, hopefully it turns out. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, that's my pixel brush. Yeah. Oh yeah, I pulled that hand, didn't I? Okay. So the reason I've done this is not to copy and flip it, though I could if I was smart. Like this, and then so okay. Well, I guess that's a vibe. If I do that, and then if I get rid of these thingies like this, and then if I get rid of this, so I know I was gonna not do that, but actually, again, then I showed you, and it kind of made sense, right? So I actually want to bring back quite a lot of that because it wasn't too bad, and then I could even do that, which really goes crazy. Just play around with it a little bit, then get rid of these here like that, then go here like this. I've made this thumb really narrow now. Go on a different layer, the correct layer, go over like that. Over like this. I just want like, it's a big fat gloved hand really close to the screen kind of vibe, and I don't want to put much more effort into it than that. So that's closer than the other one. It's also turned out better than the other one. So maybe if I go back over here now, I'm gonna turn this down a little bit more because it's really throwing me off. Maybe if I'm over here now, I can actually just do it instead of messing around. Because like gloves are like super thick, right? They've not really got this obvious form to them. Kind of just want to break them away like that, so that like you'd have underneath, like you'd have the finger there, and then this one might be like this, and then this one might be like, so hopefully that made sense. But I think that looks better. I think when I put it into Fresco, it'll all come out in the wash, and then we can just move on with our lives. I will go back and start adding more creases and stuff because I want to put more down in the legs as well, I think. And now I'm going to move on to like the bit on the front. So the bit on the front, I guess I'm going to find a reference because I don't know what I'm doing. It's kind of like a panel, right? That might have sensors and tubing and things like that. Now, I said I didn't want to put the big box on the back that is what they use on spacewalks that fires them around in space using compressed gas of some description. I don't want to do that because in my head, this is a more advanced spacesuit. If they do have that ability, then it's much smaller, more compact, and less bulky, so that they have the ability to move around easier. I don't know how much detail I want to put into this because it might get cut off, and I'm also just not sure like what even goes on there. I've kind of put it on there in a hope that something turns out, but also it doesn't have to be anything real, right? It's just I'd like for there to be some rhyme or reason to parts of it. Yeah, okay, so I've kind of found like the top of one on the spacewalk, it's somewhere I assume is the ISS, so I can't really see all of it, but it's sort of like a on the right there, yeah, it sort of like has like squares here, and they're like actually out from the suit itself, and down here too. Just lightly sketching this on, I'll make it more obvious soon. And then they might have like a patch like this, and then it looks like there is like Velcro space for more patches here, but I don't want to draw Velcro, so I'm not going to draw Velcro. What I might do is just do some more patches, or just do some colored panels, which don't necessarily have to mean anything, but you know, I don't have the manual for this thing, do you? And I think I'm gonna do the flag like a little fish or something, because why not? Don't know why I really curved this around with the, I think it would be more square rather than curved. So maybe this sticks up just a little bit. Okay, and then probably do a little fish design, but that looks like a carrot. Who's let me do this? It still looks like a carrot. Okay, well we'll come back to the fish. I think I remember how to draw fish. Oh the Lord. Right. So maybe I've got like a tube here. Maybe this could actually come around and fit into the side of this here. And so if you think of like tubes that need to bend, they're kind of corrugated, so that I guess if you're a camper van owner, it's the worst thing ever, because people tend to put corrugated tubes where they shouldn't, and then they get dirty, and then they get really smelly. But I think this is just going to be like an air hose of some description to maybe lead back to that panel, not the panel, the unit on the back, to let this cosmonaut, this astronaut, utilize the compressed air to move around. But I feel like with the state of our astronaut right now, our cosmic diver, I should say, like we have no air in the tank. Like dude's just like free falling in space. You know, even though there's no gravity in space because there's no mass unless you're on a planet of a certain, yeah, anyway, I'm not gonna go into the physics of it because I'm gonna say things wrong and then people are gonna tell me off. But you have access to Google if you're on this stream, so you can go and check that out. But yeah, if you were in your spacesuit and you're like going out at some angle, like your suit's like hissing away, spray in the air, and then you run out, like you're not gonna stop going in the direction you're going. Whatever velocity you've reached, you will do that perpetually until either you hit something and you are then scattered amongst the stars, or planets and asteroids, I should say, because you know how things work. That's the only way you're going to stop or change direction. The only other way you'd stop or change direction is if you came into enough, like close enough proximity to another celestial body, be it a planet, a moon, a big massive asteroid. Yeah, like this is the only thing that's going to change your trajectory. So I guess maybe I could do a little dial. A little dial. This seems like old school, like analog, but I guess they need a backup, right? I forgot what I was saying, but yeah, basically, like I think our cosmic diver is out of maneuverability and is going to be free falling in space forever. Oh, this is something I learned to do recently. Is if you have an art, you can press edit, and then you can edit the arc. Like, how cool is that? Now I get a perfect arc, which is just excellent. And I think we're going to be like empty, so I'm going to put a little red bit there, and then like the dial's going to be back there, and then I'm just going to suggest there's some little ticks on the dial there. Maybe I'm going to put a dial, I meant gauge. I'm going to put some actual dials like here, big grabbable dials so that, you know, you can like turn up the air maybe that gets pushed so you can go faster. It's not recommended, but there we go. And then I'm just gonna put some like lines there because I can do what I want. And then maybe another dial here. I don't know why I made that one a perfect circle and not the other one, but you know, go off. I guess I'll decide which one I like more. I kind of like this one more. It's got a little bit more personality about it. So that's 2 dials, some paneling, flags, patches, a gauge, and then I guess I'm gonna have like a more modern gauge, which is just gonna read like empty, full, and this is gonna be actually I might make that the water gauge because we got a fish on board. Oh, and maybe he's not only out of air, but the suit's leaking, and we could have like, it wouldn't be like that because it's in space, but we could have some water coming out. But I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. I don't know what I want to do. It feels like I've just potentially made myself way more work. Yeah, if you can tell, I'm really trying to make sure that I finish most of everything before I move on to this helmet, because that's where I want the eye-catching part to be more than anything else. I want the detail in the other things, but I want like this fish to be like, oh my god, look how cool this fish is. Yeah, so we're gonna go with the, which I'm sure in NASA standard or whatever, these buckles and stuff, and I feel like this is like a modular thing, right? So you can put this panel on, or you can take it off and put a different one on, or whatever. I'm just gonna go and try and draw a fish again. So if we just do a little body. This one looks so good when it gets into Fresco and I can actually remember how to draw. There we go. That looks like a beetroot or something. Cool. Alright. Well, now I'm just gonna do some random panel designs here. Maybe a little thing like this. Maybe it's the insignia for this Cosmic Divers battalion, whatever. I don't know. And maybe we could have like a swirly one here, which is sort of like almost like a wave, like a nod to the sea. Cool. All right. Well, I guess I'll do some more of these creases and things, and like really get some detail and texture in this areas and stuff, just to like make it more visually interesting. Also, it's good practice because you never know, maybe I'll do another person in clothes. It's not a person, it's a fish, but it's humanoid. It's kind of like a mecha, I guess, like a robot in a spacesuit. And then I guess you kind of think like, well, why do you have an entire spacesuit? Could you not just have like a mecha body? But actually they're on like cost saving missions because the government's taken away their funding. So what's actually happened is that they need suits that are multi-purpose. So if they can't get a fish to do the job, then they need a human. So they need to be able to share these suits. It's just the way of it, unfortunately. They're cutting all the funding for all the things, you know? Not for good reasons, but there we go. Some more of this strappage on the leg, maybe. Maybe it's like a little holster. I think I've got hiccups. That's terrible. Yeah. Some of this is going to have like reflective patterning as well. On this side, like a patch there, and then like some holograph underneath. So I kind of got like these knee pad shapes as well, which, you know, is good because when I work on a ship, if I'm on the deck, I'm in coveralls, and my coveralls do have space for knee pads, but I don't take knee pads with me, even though I wish I would, because my knees really hurt when you're kneeling on something, and even though your fish here doesn't have knees, or the human that would potentially be using this suit doesn't have knees, the point is, no, the human would have knees. That's a total lie. What I'm trying to say is that you wouldn't have gravity, like giving you the weight to kneel down and be sore. But what if, while they're in the ship, they have artificial gravity? Like, what if this spacesuit's actually really heavy, and while they're in the ship, they're like getting ready on their knees? Or that sounds awful. But you know what I mean? Like, I think like the knees would be padded. And actually saying that, like, it's probably contingency anyway, because if you go on the outside of anything, you can still hit your knee, like, and it's still gonna hurt. So yeah, I stand by my design choices. They're gonna have knee pads. I don't like what I've done with this lower leg. It looks awful, so I'm just gonna rub it out and start again, because I feel like as I've gone through, I'm getting better. Do you think? I don't know, probably overthinking it. Kind of like this ruffled fabric. So yeah, I guess just intentional lines and just, you know, hoping for the best is how we do our clothing wrinkles. And that's fine. That kind of looks like a worm now. I'll fix it in post, don't you worry. Alright. We can't really see a lot of this because the knee's right here and the foot's right below. And actually, I should have made that foot smaller, because foreshortening, baby. What I told you before, remember? So this is where I ruin everything. It's gonna do this. We're gonna do this. So let's make it a little bit smaller than the other one, because it's right at the bottom of a whole leg, which is here, kind of, probably even shorter actually. But it's further away than this one over here. This is closer. So, I'm so hungry. I actually haven't eaten yet today. I forgot. So, there we go. We ride. There we go. Give him those unable to tie my shoes Velcro straps. Nothing wrong with that. Some of us are busy. Some of us just can't tie our shoes. I ain't judging. Definitely odd pair of shoes, but again, we can come back to that in Fresco. I don't want to, well, I want to get this as close to what I want it to look like as possible. What I don't want to do is get bogged down in things that I know from my skill set, my abilities, like things are going to look better when I start in them. Sketching isn't my strong suit, and it's definitely something I'm going to be working on. Now I've got some more sketchbooks and things like that. And I'm just gonna, something I learned from Jazza is that, like, quantity. Just do it. Just keep doing it. Just do it all the time. Doesn't have to look good. Just go, push it. Like, don't go with your first idea was another good one. And this wasn't actually my first idea, but I didn't want to spend a lot of the stream like going like, oh, maybe we could do this, maybe we could do that. Maybe in the future when I have more engagement on the stream, we can definitely get involved and have a more directed design process wherein the viewers can tell me or vote for, if we have poll options, what they're looking out for, what they want to do. I think that would be nice. And I think also it's really, it would be good to push me. But yeah, basically like I said, I have like, I'm two minds about having it this far out, because it is far away from the bulk of what I'm doing here, but there's so much nice detail here now that I might be convinced to, you know, otherwise, I don't know. Let's do a little belt here, because why not? Why wouldn't you have a belt on? Otherwise his fish trousers will fall down. I'm liking these line textures. These are fun. Okay, and then we got some. So I feel like if you've ever worn a harness, you'll know how it pulls the crotch tight. So I don't want to over wrinkle the crotch, because like this is mostly smooth, like a Ken doll. But yeah, so all the material will sort of get pulled like up into here rather than like wrinkling. So this is why I've gone like heavy on the outside of the leg wrinkle situation. And yeah, I just thought I'd tell you that, because I know you want to know. I know, I feel it in my bones. All right, so yeah, and then I'm gonna do some light ones across here just to visual deliciousness. Is where it goes like tight, like you wouldn't necessarily have these sharp ruffles, like you'd have like maybe a little shadow or something like that. I don't know. I'm just guessing, just in my head I'm guessing. So what can we do? Yeah, where they might be pulled a little tighter, it's more of a suggestion of like a wrinkle than an actual wrinkle. I feel like this might be funny inverted sort of thing, and then maybe this is like quite sharp and joins across the knee pad there, and this one too. I don't know, maybe that one, and then you can like maybe branch them off a little, but it wouldn't branch there, it would branch further on, right? I don't know. I don't know. I don't overthink it. It's like when I used to play drums, like I could drum until I started thinking about drumming, and then at that point I would not be able to play drums. I actually still have a drum kit at my mum's house in the loft, which I don't know if she knows about. But it's not one I'd want back anyway. Like she can totally sell it or get rid of it for free. It's fine, because if I ever get a drum set again, the likelihood of it being a full acoustic kit is very slim. The likelihood of it being an electric kit that I can plug in my headphones to, or plug it directly into my desktop for making music, is way more helpful for me than having a full loud kit. Okay, so I think that's looking better than I ever could have hoped for. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to start the helmet, I think. So I think I'm just going to draw the helmet first of all, and then I'm going to do a different layer for inside the helmet. And we can think about the fish then. So let's get this show on the road. So we got this here. It's going to have like a little bit of rigidity because there'll be like a ring that the helmet seals to. Like you see in films like The Martian, which actually, Martian is a very good film. It has Matt Damon in it, but the book itself as well, also very good. And the reason I thought about Mercury actually earlier when we were talking about the qualities of a spacesuit, which I am in no way qualified to talk about, but there we go. The reason I was thinking about that is because I have been listening to a lot of Isaac Asimov lately, which is very out of date in terms of like a lot of the language that they use and their approach to autism and his approach to autism, things like this. It's super of the time. However, the stories, like I didn't like the one about the autistic kid. Like that was very difficult to listen to as somebody who is A, on the spectrum, B, also has family members on the spectrum and friends who are on the spectrum, and all this stuff. Like it sucked. It was like, yeah, not nice. It could have been ahead of its time, but it was not. It was not. But yeah, that's just unfortunate. Anyway, one of the stories has the story of when humanity is trying to go to Mercury and mine, but they're sending robots to not have people in a dangerous atmosphere in a dangerous place on a different planet, on a very hot / very cold planet, right? And the thing is that you can't just send a robot onto a planet and be like, okay, do your job. They had to send people to test them. So there was these two characters that were going to test these robots in situ. I can't remember the name of the short story. Hold on, I'm gonna Google it. Isaac Asimov Mercury story. Run Around, that's the story. The two characters are called Powell and Donovan. That's their last names. And it was actually published in 1942. It's set on a solar-powered mining station on Mercury, and features, I'm just reading the synopsis here, so this is why I sound robotic. Haha. Features Powell and Donovan, two men who are field testers for all these new robots that what's it called? I think it's US Mechanical Men and Robots is the name of the company. I can't remember off the top of my head. But there's a robot that they've nicknamed Speedy, and Speedy is, as the name suggests, super fast. And they have 3 laws of robotics, and it had a conflict between the second and third law of robotics. The second law of robotics being that must always do what a human commands it to do, and the third law of robotics is that no harm will come to the robot itself. Now the problem is when basically you get raised potential between these two laws, and then it causes a conflict in the system, in the positronic brain, as it's known in these stories. And the mission is dangerous due to the extreme heat, so they send the robot Speedy to retrieve this element called selenium, and then Speedy doesn't return. So Powell and Donovan are like, what in the name of the Lord is going on here? And this is kind of the voice that the guy does, because I've been listening to these stories. And they realize that this Speedy, this robot, is like acting really weird, and he's just running circles around this pool of selenium that he's been sent to collect. So they realize that he's caught between two of the three laws of robotics, and his strong third law, which is self-preservation, is conflicting with his second law, which is obeying orders to get the selenium. So to break Speedy's loop, Powell must use the first law, which is do not injure a human or allow injury through an action, and he places himself in the sun in the dangerous conditions. Now, from what I remember of actually reading the story, is that he has about 8 minutes in this extreme heat, and I think it was, 430 degrees Celsius, 800 degrees Fahrenheit. He has about 8 minutes in his spacesuit in this heat. So in my head, obviously, they got to have some of this heat shield sort of material and a cooling system, of course. Like, there's no way that a heat shield material could definitely get rid of all that heat on its own, but the cooling system would do a lot of that. But I was just thinking like about the materials earlier on. If you're interested in reading the rest of the story, the name is Runaround, and it's by Isaac Asimov, published in 1942. I'm not going to spoil the end for you. If you know anything about Isaac Asimov, then you'll know the film I, Robot. So the film I, Robot was actually based on numerous short stories, or drew inspiration from numerous short stories that were written by Isaac Asimov, who is, a renowned author for lots of sci-fi, I guess we'd call it, basically imagining a future. And remember, this guy was publishing in like the 40s, 50s, 60s. Like, he thought by now, like, we'd, be robots would be taking all our jobs and whatever. And he had really funny ways of thinking about, well, funny to me because I live here now, but funny ways of thinking about the future and what that would look like. And like, they were still using like tape, like, analog tape to transfer information, but these robots were, incredibly smart and can do all these really futuristic things. But dude hadn't thought about storage. Like, the concept of a disk or a chip or any of these things were so far removed from reality at the time that he was just like, it was just so far out of his wheelhouse. It was just funny to listen to these stories now, remembering that, his reality is completely different from the world we live in today, really. And his idea of, all these super futuristic robots that would like do everything from your cooking and cleaning to looking after your children to working on different planets to whatever it might be, but they're still using tape memory. Like, I love that so much. It's super fun. Even though it's obviously not his intention to make it super fun, I just thought it was quite funny in that sense. But yeah, so I, Robot was based off a load of different stories in the Asimov universe. But also, he did have a book called I, Robot, and I think that was actually like an anthology of different short stories. He had quite a lot of different releases on just short stories, as he should have, because he wrote for, various sci-fi magazines and things like that. But anyway, yeah, I just really enjoyed the idea of his universe, and like obviously then drawing the astronaut and thinking about what a spacesuit might be made of really made me think of the Isaac Asimov story. Anyway, I think I'm fairly happy with the helmet. I didn't want it to be too like detailed, because I didn't want to retract from the fish and the crab in here. So yeah, I think I'm just going to feel it out. I think the best thing for me to do would be to have the fish like facing, or at least 3/4 facing the viewer, taking up most of the room, right? So if I just draw a big sort of like yin yang side like that, and we want, you know, because the fish is gonna have like fish lips. It's gonna be like, oh my god. Big fish eye looking right at us. Excuse me. And then take that back there. This. And then do some pins, but I kind of want them to be roughly like, so that you have a bit of a fold in there, but I'll detail that up some more in a moment. I want to get this fish mouth right. Yeah, so got our fish. I'm just like trying to draw a line down the back there because that's going to dictate where I put the dorsal fin of the fish. And also I just want to think a little bit more about how much of the other side of the fish I want to see, because it's other, like it should get narrower like towards here and then out a bit again, because you can see the line crosses over, so I lose sight of that other side over here, but I get to see more of this side. I might play around with this a little bit more because maybe I want to have quite a lot of the tail fin, the caudal fin visible too. But yeah, I'm on full size for this now. I'm just going to pull it back to like 20% because this crab's going to be pretty small. And this is kind of like co-pilot in here. So I'm just going to do like a little, it's like a saucer, an upside down saucer shape like this. And this is kind of like what a blue crab looks like. And then an eyeball, an eyeball. So crab's mouth is kind of like that. I can't go too detailed because look, you know, you're wearing that on t-shirt, you just got this tiny little grab there, like people aren't going to see that. And I'm going to change this still, and I'm going to make this pencil even smaller actually, because it is like, it's a lot easier when I'm using ink to get this information across, but while I'm in the sketching phase it's a little bit different. I'm still on the rubber, this is why. Right, so let me think about it. Crab here looking like a bar of soap. We want an arm like this. It's probably going to come across because this is kind of how they like to sit. Hide behind the rim there because I want it to be obvious that they're inside this helmet rather than kind of looking like they're on the outside. So crabs come in like so many different shapes and sizes, and there's like this process called carcinization, and you've probably heard of it because it's like a big meme on the internet. But carcinization is basically the idea or the theory that everything in evolutionary history, it's like a form of convergent evolution in which non-crab crustaceans evolve a crab-like body plan. So in layman's terms, I guess that would be like, I've just pulled up some information here, so this is more cohesive. Otherwise, I'm just going to be saying and all the way through. So, Lancelot Alexander Borradaile, I don't know if that's how you pronounce his last name, but he described it as the many attempts of nature to evolve a crab. And so, basically, this means reduction in abdomen, and depression and broadening of the cephalothorax. So the cephalothorax is actually pretty much the entire body plan that you see of a crab. It's just means like head, chest. Um, so it's very squashed together. Um, they also um, have the term carcinized morphology. So the morphology of something is like the body plan. Like generally humans have two arms and two legs and a torso and a head. Um, so this guy called Kyler described carcinized morphology as the carapace is flatter than it is broad and possesses lateral margins. This is the carapace here. So just so you know what that is. Um, and then he also goes on to say other things that I actually don't know enough about crab morphology to understand. But if you think of things like, um, let's see, there's some great examples here. So, it's carcinization is a process that's obviously it takes a long time over evolutionary time to do. Um, you know, hundreds of thousands to millions of years, but the king crabs, I believe, to have evolved from the same ancestor as hermit crabs. Oh, sorry, no, from hermit crab ancestors. So that's not even the same um thing. What that means is that like this ancestor hermit crab was not necessarily the same kind of hermit crab as the hermit crab ancestor is. Um, I'd have to look more into this to be sure because I'm trying to draw and read information about this at the same time. Um, yeah, that's a little crab. He's very small. Um, I'm gonna make this separate though so that I can play with it. Some other kinds of crabs would include porcelain crabs, which are closely related to squat lobsters. So we get both of those kinds of crabs here in Scotland. Um, and yeah, you can see like if you Google or if you also dive in the UK, you'll be able to see similar morphologies between the two. Um, hairy stone crabs. Um, and these are all under the same infraorder as well. So if you know anything about taxonomy, is under the infraorder Anemora. Um, so they also have hermit crabs, which involve coconut crabs, which are terrifying, and Patagoras rex, which is a monotypic genus of hermit crab. So basically, that is the only species in its genus. So the genus is Patagoras, the species is Rex, and it was dredged from the ocean off the coast of French Polynesia. And it's one specimen, and it has independently evolved a hard protective carapace similar to true crabs, which are under the infraorder Brachyura. And yeah, so that's pretty interesting. I don't know if they've ever found a species of Patagoras rex ever again, um, which is interesting, but also kind of scary because that thing that people say is true, that we really don't know that much about the ocean. We haven't discovered most of the ocean species. We're still discovering every day. One of my favorite channels on Instagram actually is the Nautilus. Let me find the actual channel here. Nautilus Live, I think it is. Yeah, Nautilus Live. Let me pop that in the chat for you. Oh, hey, thanks for coming. Chauncey Hill _official. I think I missed you, but it's nice to see somebody in here that isn't just me. Yeah, if you haven't noticed, I'm just drawing an astronaut with a which is actually a fish and a little crab, for a t-shirt. So thanks for coming, and I'm just absolutely talking rubbish right now about various creatures and things, but I was just sharing one of my favorite channels to watch about all the things that we don't know about um, creatures under the sea. They're always finding really, really cool creatures and sharing them with the world, and that's not just live on Instagram. There's some real kooky things out there, which is just awesome. But yeah, back to the crabs in the process of carcinization. Yeah, there's just loads of different things that aren't true crabs that happen to look like a crab. And I guess if you think about it, it makes sense, because if you can shed your exoskeleton and harden up a new one, like other what are they called, arthropods, then you are great. And also, if you're flat like a crab, then you're going to be fitting into all the little gaps in places, right? So yeah, lots of reasons to be a crab. So I'm just gonna try and add some fin ray detail on here. I'm not sure how I feel about this tail. I think I want it to be more obnoxious, to be honest with you. So let's think about that while I do the pectoral fin. So have the pectoral fin there. Let's see what I can do. I need some inspiration from a real life fish. I don't want to do like a freshwater fish though, because yeah, I painted a beta fish before, a fighting fish. I don't want to do that again, but I do want a kind of flowy fin. So marine fish with flowy fins. Let's Google it. Why not? Marine fish with flowy fins. Let's see what happens. Ooh, I'm not gonna do a lionfish because their patterns are just obscenely good, and I would definitely butcher that. So let's not attempt that. And I don't want to really do like a gurnard either, because their pectoral fins are huge and they take up a lot of room. I think actually the thing is to think about marine fish is that a lot of them don't have flowy fins, but is it Melanthius that has really flowy fins? Let's see. Some species of Anthias do have ridiculous fins. I can't remember which species I saw that had like this beautiful cloak of finnage going on. Oh, it was not a picture, it was a video, which is even better. Okay. Yeah, so this fish has like crazy pelvic fins coming down. So if you like, just for illustrative purposes, like your standard fish, like fish body, this is called the caudal fin or the tail fin. Then you've got dorsal fins, and some have two, some have three, pectoral fins, pelvic fins, anal fins. Now, these can all be changed and modified. So in lump suckers, this here, this pelvic fin is actually modified into a sucker, which is kind of like this. And if you look on my Instagram, you'll see the painting, the watercolor painting I did of that. But yeah, this fish here has got like these like quite deep bodied, and then it's got like crazy fins like this. And the dorsal fin's pretty cool as well, because it has like this lobe here, then it comes on and it has like spikes through the front, and then like quite a small pectoral fin here, quite a small tail fin really for the fish, having so much other things going on, and then like a mirrored fin there. But that's too much to stick inside this tiny little bowl, so I think we're just gonna have to use imagination to carry on with that. So what can I do? What I can do though is like think about how the fin fits to the body. I know this is only like an illustration for what is happening. I'm on the wrong bloody layer as usual. Only an illustration for a t-shirt, but you know, if you know me at all, you know that I like to keep it based on reality in some way, which is kind of funny to say because I've got a fish in a spacesuit with a craft co-pilot. So I mean, take from that what you will. So yeah, I'm kind of gonna fold that under like that in a way. I need to think about how this would look. Maybe I just draw the far edge and then worry about it later, or do that and make that a little bit darker, and then come down. I don't like this fin. This is really annoying. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna keep this fin simple, and I'm gonna make the tail fin a little bit more extravagant, I think. So I'm just gonna do that, do some fin rays. Wow, it's beautiful. Okay, and then we got like a dorsal fin which can kind of come up like that. Maybe I can make that a little bit obnoxious as well. Fill up the space a little bit. No pun intended. Okay. So put some fin rays in there as well. Just remember this is going to go into Fresco as well at some point, so it will look a lot prettier than the sketch. So the tail. Maybe I'm going to put this fin the other way actually, because I want to make space for the tail. So let's just go back and do that. Give it that really obnoxious curve, but I'm going to do that that second line a lot better. Okay, so it'll be like that, and then there we go. Okay, so this tail fin is going to be like that. You know this fish swims. This fish was in a swim club at high school. Okay. Well, I think I kind of like that. However, I am going to duplicate this artwork, and then I'm going to focus on just the upper portion because I don't want to just have one option here. So I'm going to not see that anymore. Get rid of that actually. This can merge down. Actually, I don't want to do that, but I do want to select. There we go. Both layers simultaneously. This is going to be a uniform move, and then I'm just going to place it like this, maybe. Okay, let's get rid of that blurb there. Okay, so I'm gonna go a new layer just so I can get into some detail for this fish, because I feel like with it being so small on the other version, like I can't really put much detail into it, you know? So I'm going to delete, excuse me, delete this. I kind of like this sketch marks here. It kind of looks like a start of the dorsal fin coming right forward on it. I'm also going to tidy up this space here, because with the scrubbing around with the pencil in the previous version, it's kind of lost its form a little bit. So maybe if I just like this, sort of outline it, and then on this version I can just get rid of it, and then I'll redraw it in this higher upscale version, I guess. This more detailed version. I don't want this to stick out a little bit though. Do that. Don't think the lips are big enough there. I kind of want to keep the top and bottom lip nice and fat. Okay. The crab. Still want to pull the scaling down for this a little bit because it's still way smaller than the fish, which just means I can get some more actual detail on there, I guess. Maybe it's quite hard to see at this stage because of the zoom. Okay. Still quite messy, but I know it'll look better in Fresco. Maybe I'll do some little fins there, but you know, I'll actually do them way better than I just did. Okay, I'm not sure how I feel about this now. Yeah, I don't know. All right, well, maybe I will put in some ink, some lines in Fresco. I just need to make sure that Fresco works. And if it doesn't, that's fine. We can move on to the next idea that was had, which was a skate and skate, which I'm not sure how that's going to work out. But you know, we can try. So I'll do this one first because it's going to take time to do it. Share. PNG. Fantastic. Okay. So I want to create a new layer. I want to use a vector brush. What size is that? Way too big. Okay. What size is that? A little bit better. Okay, we're gonna try this. I'm in 13 just now, so we'll see how it goes. Now the thing to remember when we're doing vector lines in Fresco is it's a little bit delayed. So yeah, it's a little bit laggy because it's taking the time to figure out where you are and what you're doing. So yeah, I think the rest of this stream, which is just over an hour, is just going to be me inking this this design. And the reason I'm doing it in black is because I can just change all this later. Like, it really doesn't matter. I don't think I want to have a taper at the beginning of this. I think I want it to be fairly round. I can change it all in Illustrator. I can, yeah, I don't have to worry about doing all the coloring right now. So that's good. I think that turned out okay for somebody who can't draw hands. Yeah, I really didn't think about this when I thought about the prompt, you know? That's too much. You're doing too much. Yeah. So at the moment, I just use an iPad, like I think it's a 4th generation iPad Pro 11-inch with 128 gig on it. So it's doing really well, to be honest with you, because these softwares are not light. So I think maybe next year I might upgrade to a larger one with more storage, more I don't know what the word is anymore. I need to eat something. I don't know. I just make it a little bit faster, a little bit better to use, I guess. I don't know if that's the right word. But yeah, it does everything I need it to for now. I just feel that, like, I have plans that I need beefier, like, hardware for, you know, and that's fine. That's the stage that I'm at. And if I wasn't trying to progress in terms of, like, art as more of a, not, I think career is a really difficult term to use for me because I have such a weird set of circumstances that it's like, am I ever going to do this as a full-time career? Doubt it. Maybe I will, you know? So what I do know is that I want the ability to do this if I want to do it. So I'll just have to see. I think I'm going to leave these wrinkles for now. I'm just going to go in with the main outline because I feel like I want those wrinkles to be finer. than what they are. I also think I want this to be a little bit bigger as an outline. So let's go. I love how Fresco kind of pulls these lines around for me. Looks so smooth. That's because the smoothing's on. Which is on purpose, by the way, because when I'm doing this kind of stuff, I want it to be flowing. I don't want to get caught up in sort of like the way that I draw. I say as I get caught up in the way that I draw. No, my point is that it's just way more aesthetic to have like these bold flowing lines than it is for me to have like these sketchy, apprehensive lines, I guess. Yeah. So yeah, I think I'm gonna change the setting actually to be pressure dynamics rather than um yeah, that feels pretty good. Just because it's more similar to life style working. Yeah, I think I was saying something there about the line work and stuff, and that it's just for me personally, I like um the flowiness and like yeah, rather than the more artistic approach of like um being able to draw. Which is quite a funny thing to say if you sat here and watched me draw this, but yeah, no, just my ability to keep things neat and tidy is not necessarily there. So um yeah, I just try my best, but if I can use a tool to make this design look even better, then why wouldn't I do that? Oh, that was interesting. Excuse me. I didn't know I did that. There we go. We're all learning today. It's kind of messed up my groove. I would do that if I made a shape. It's kind of annoying though, huh? Oh, the other cool thing about Adobe Fresco, I think. Whoa, what is this trim segment? Right, there I am, I'm drawing, and then I draw there, and then I draw there, and then that. But I'm just trying to make a square, so voila, voila. Oh, wasn't down enough. But look, you can cut off the segments. How cool is that? It's like freaking sweet. I learned that one from Chris Piazik, that illustrator I mentioned earlier. There we go, double tap and get rid of that. Yeah, super cool. Really appreciate the knowledge. But yeah, there's a lot of people like on YouTube who like I really, really enjoy watching, who have really influenced my kind of style in terms of like where I want to be in my head anyway. Not necessarily what I'm able to produce right now, but also like just not because you shouldn't be like copying people's styles, because that's not your style. You know, you've got to find your style, and I would say that like finding my style is something that I'm still doing. But as I said at the start of the stream, I know that um oops, the more illustrative kind of thing is so hard to erase. What I want to do. So yeah, I follow a lot of people who have really, like, again, not something that I'm copying, but like have really made me think about the style that I want to produce. So Crispy Isaac is one of those people, and I'm always following different artists to get different inspiration, because there's so many well-established artists out there who are producing some super clean work, like super nice. And it's good to have aspirations to be better, right? And it's not about being better than your, competition, I guess is a word for it, but I don't really want to think like that. But like if you surround yourself or just like have really good um inspirations, role models, people who really like fire you up and you're like, wow, that's so cool. I want to see how they did that. I want to know. Then there's loads of people on YouTube who are like, just sharing that information. Like, here's my work process. Here's what I do. Here's how to do this. Here's how I do this in Fresco. And the reason I use Fresco, actually, saying that, is because of 1000. So Peter Robinson, otherwise known as 1000, is um, an incredible illustrator, and actually one of the ones who I've probably taken the most inspiration from. He has a really cool style. Um, and yeah, just like the reason I use Fresco is because of him, because it makes sense to have your work as a vector instead of a raster, which is what we use in Procreate. And I'm just gonna go over there because I can just trim that, like I said. Um, but yeah, the ability to go and send this to Illustrator and play with your colors and decide how you want it before you send it for print or whatever is so valuable, and I never would have known that if I hadn't started watching his videos years ago. Yeah, and actually, if you don't know 1000 already, you should definitely go and check him out. He's just, I think, 4 or 5 months into creating a trading card game, um, which is coming along beautifully. It's awesome looking. Is with a company called Creo, who reached out to him. So yeah, like what a privilege to have your artwork be on a set of trading cards. That's really cool. But I do find myself watching videos and being like, wow, this guy has so much energy to like keep going. And that's something I struggle with, is this like keeping up the workflow, like it's not because I don't want to, but the burnout is real. And also because like my surroundings suck, you know. Also, I've turned off the taper because it was slowing me down quite a lot. Um, like I don't have a studio. I intend to have a workspace in the house that I end up getting, hopefully next year. Which is why I'm working offshore so much at the moment, because I really want to save up some money to be able to have a bedroom separate from all my workspace, which is, you know, the dream. And not just for artwork either, for some gaming stuff. So I will want to stream some really chill games. And if you're interested in that, you can find me on Twitch at Gaming Slumber Party. That's just going to be super chill. Like, I'm not a good gamer. Um, I just, yeah, I just want somewhere to like hang out and like show these cool games that I've found. And yeah, I don't know. I think it'll be nice. But yeah, I want space to do that. I want space to create music. Yeah, I'm gonna have time when I'm at home because I don't have a normal office job anymore. So I want to be able to utilize that. So I'm really looking forward to doing that and having time and space to just really push myself, I guess, as well, artistically. Um, because that's where you grow, you know. So yeah, let's see what the future holds anyway. I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket. But yeah, whatever will be, will be. Yeah, so if you notice there, I have literally just finished showing you, oh, look at all these cool things you can do in Fresco. You can overlap and take away the extra segment that you don't want. And then you saw me struggling to make some joins in the line. You'll have also seen me remember that in Fresco you can delete the segments, so I've gone over the lines at the top there just to make them a bit more clean. Yeah, so I'm gonna try and do the body first, and then no, I said don't do that until you finish the thing. That's not the one I wanted. This is the one I wanted. Look at it. Yeah, it didn't turn out as good because I did separate lines. So maybe if I just get rid of all of these and then redo it, it'll look better, won't it? Okay. So if I just go up, over, over, down. That's not what I meant. Yes. So good. That looks so much better now. Oh, thank God somebody that isn't me knows what they're doing on Fresco. I'm really worried the postman's going to turn up. Yeah, so we have 50 minutes left of this stream. I'm going to keep going till the end of the stream, and then I'm going to go get some food. Okay. I don't know if this will work because I don't think I've gone far enough. Over. Okay, a little bit there. A little bit there. Oh god, yeah, that definitely wasn't enough, which is annoying as hell. Start doing this, and it's really annoying. Especially because you see, it doesn't show up like straight away. Okay. Some cold coffee. Okay, start doing some of these leggies. We're making pretty good time. Definitely not gonna get finished on this stream, but hopefully I'll finish this in the next few days. And then what we can do is and do another t-shirt design next week. I think just with what I've got in my head, and I do want to get some ideas out this week before the stream, but just what is currently going on in terms of the idea for the skate and skate. I don't think it's going to take as long as doing an entire astronaut. So yeah, we'll see. I keep forgetting that I can just go, like I can just whoosh, all the way down. Okay, we're gonna do that. We're gonna just go all the way down. It looks way more roughly on the sketch, but I think if I want these lines to be clean, I just gotta go for it, Yeah, I really like this tool. When I remember to use it, it's really fun. So why the heckers not? And like I said, I'm going to leave these creases and stuff to later on because I just think they're just going to look so much better when there's some difference in line thickness, give it some interest. So it's going to be, let's do these boots. All right, well, I can't do that because it does that, but I guess I'll just, yeah, I probably should just redraw that part because if I do that, at least I can cross out the lines. Why do you hate me? Here we go. You just have to be careful. That's the main thing. Just be so careful. Okay. So that's a space boot. Let's go. There'll be so many long lines in here. I need to really zoom out. The trick is to kind of watch where the little circle is on the screen rather than watch where your pen is, because if you watch where your pen is, that's where you were, not where you are. Whereas if you watch a little circle, that's where your pen is actually at that moment, so that helps. Here's our little trick again. Voila. Get this patch, because this isn't a wrinkle, so it can be more, nice. What am I doing? Not the right thing, that's for sure. Yeah, okay, I'm just gonna do that and that, and then do that again. So it looks prettier. I don't know why I did that, because what I wanted to do was this. I want it to be quite... Why can't I draw? I wanted it to be angular. It's quite hard in such a closed space though, you know? Oh, that line isn't far enough over, so it won't let me... Okay. This should work this time. If it doesn't, then we're all going home. Okay, great, perfect. I'll probably change my mind about that as well in a moment, but there we go. Okay, so that can be the little strip of reflective tape. Take those off. All right, we're making great progress here. It's like, I don't know what it is. I just thought we needed something on the thigh. Be a little box. Okay. It's not perfect. Oh, hey. How's it going? How early is it for you? It's like, it's only 1:30 here. It's 5 a.m. Dude, you gotta go back to sleep. I can't believe you're here watching my stream. Oh, if you want to see what it is, it's a Cosmic Diver. We've got a fish and a crab in an astronaut suit. It's for a t-shirt that I'm gonna bring out. Thanks, man. Why did you wake up at 11 last night? You accidentally napped all evening. Been there. Well, you working today? Oh, sweet. Didn't know. That's all right then. Well, at least you've got no work to do. I don't know if you've got any other obligations to entertain today, but here you are. Hope you didn't set an alarm because you didn't want to miss this, though. Yeah, true. Oh, you don't get paid. Oh, that's no good. Yeah, I mean, I've only got 35 minutes left of the stream, and I'll probably finish a little earlier just to do a little outro. But yeah, I've currently got a really I don't know what the word is. What's the word? Rudimentary setup. It's not like what my final setup's going to be, but yeah, I just oops. I don't have what I want it to be yet, so it's gonna get there, but not today. So we're just running straight off the iPad. Nobody gets to see me. Nobody gets to see what my hands are doing. Oh yeah. So yeah, I have my DSLR, which I'm very grateful for because my friend is a photographer, videographer, cinematographer kind of guy. So when I first went freelance with my offshore job, like I needed a camera for the work. So I was like, hey, do you have an old one I can borrow? And he's just like, if you get this fixed, you can keep it. So it basically cost me like £84, which is probably about $100 for a very good camera. And then well, I got a pretty cheap lens for about the same. And yeah, so that's all ready to go. I just need like a dummy battery for it. And also, yeah, I've got like all my layouts ready to go in OBS, so it looks like a real professional stream, you know. But right now it is what it is, and it's kind of working, you know. There's nobody really here. Yeah, it's really good. Yeah, I'm super grateful. Yeah, I just glad that I could get something, because I really didn't have the money to spend on a decent camera to start out with, coming from where I was. Oh, we're nearly there. I mean, I've not done any of the detail on this. I'm just doing the main outline. I'll detail it later, but I'm hoping that I can get this colored and ready for print by the end of the week, and then I'll put it up on my Teespring, which is like a print on demand vendor. So basically you order and they run the orders like every few days. So yeah, it'd be really cool if this does well on there. That can go towards having a capture deck or something, so that I can have more than one source going at a time. Because like, to get started like streaming that isn't just like straight up from your screen in Twitch, it's so expensive. Like, I guess my problem is that it's not expensive if you want like if you just, I don't know, like a one input thing or whatever, but like to get a cam link for the camera, to get the thing for the iPad, to run it all through OBS, to do, yeah, loads of stuff. It's just like, okay, so that's quite a lot of money that I don't have, but yeah, I'm just managing with what I've got right now, and that's fine for now, you know. But at least I've got something I can do it with, because I just like a chat while I'm working. Oh, GameCube stream would be sick. Yeah. Well, you know, I've got I guess this is how you got here, because this will have pushed notification to the self-promo channel on my gaming Discord, right? So yeah, for that as well, like I need some extra bits and pieces. But yeah, all in good time anyway. I don't know if I'll get another job before the end of the year, so I kind of don't want to spend a load of money on streaming equipment right now. But yeah, see how it turns out. But yeah, I'm just glad that like everything worked out on Discord doing what it was supposed to do, because I spent hours setting up the bots to do what they were supposed to do. But yeah, it's been fun. Like, I had quite a lot of downtime on that last job I was on, so I was like, let's be productive. Let's get things set up for when I get home. Yeah, man, I will do. I say that, but I mean, I guess as soon as I as soon as I have the means to do it, I'm gonna do it, you know? Like, I'm just waiting for a refund to come through on something so I can upgrade my laptop, because my laptop's nearly 5 kilos, which is like, how many pounds is in a kilo? Like 2.4. So like 10 pounds my laptop weighs. So heavy. Oh yeah, okay. So audio video delays and then a schedule for streams. Yeah, I mean, like everything I know I just learned from YouTube. Like it's such a good what's the word? Such a good resource for learning this stuff. There's like so many knowledgeable people on there that just took to this like a duck to water. But yeah, the like panels and everything on this channel, like I made myself and things, and like I was thinking like actually I could just make my own overlays and things, and then I was like, am I gonna do that? Am I actually going to do that? And the answer is probably not this year, but yeah, for things like that I just went on YouTube. The overlays for this channel I bought impulsively, so like they're there waiting. All the scenes are set up in OBS, but yeah, I mean, if I could get the screen mirrors to work on here, then totally could just have my lovely obnoxious stream overlay on, but it's all good. We'll figure out the kinks, and you know, I got to stream today, which is cool, and I'm gonna have another stream on Sunday, which will be the pixel art stuff. But what I'm going to do for that is I'm going to do the alerts, the channel alerts on Twitch. So like new follower, whatever, when it pops up, that's what I'm planning to do. So yeah, that should be fun. Anyway, so yeah, that's why I'm not able to do the earlier, what was it, Foundry on Sunday? I can't remember. Why have we shrunk the brush size? Oh, that's the eraser. Why does it keep going back to eraser? Making me look like a fool on my own channel. Foundry. Yeah, nice. Okay. Yeah, so yeah, I'm streaming this Sunday from 12 till 4 is pixel art stuff, so I'm gonna be doing that. But yeah, hopefully I'll make the 7 p.m. That'll be 8 p.m. here, so I should be done with dinner by then, so my friend can just deal. Oh yeah, 12 to 4 my time, yeah, so I'm like UTC +1 at the moment, and I think it's the 25th or the 26th of October the clocks will go back, so I'll be UTC time again. Yeah, man. Well, you are all the way in the US of A. I'm not going to tell everybody which state, but I know which state you live in. It's like, I was just about to say this is so satisfying, and then it does that. Yeah, no, but just, you know, you never know who's out there, who can do what these days, you know. It's uneasy. I don't like it. It's better to be safe than sorry. I've already had some bots on here trying to be like, oh, get some viewers at this website. I'm like, no. Like, if people find me organically, that's great. If they don't, that's also great. This video is gonna go on YouTube afterwards. I'll probably speed up some parts that I'm not speaking during, but you know, all in all, it's just nice if people show, but I don't really mind. Oh yeah, I forgot you can't alter arcs on here. That's fine. I need to do all these with a smaller vector brush anyway. I don't know why I'm still going on that panel. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm not about that though. I just like, I've always been like happy with organic growth, I guess. And if what's the word? What's the word I'm looking for? I've been like this all stream. Oh yeah, I did a lot of readjusting of like where I wanted the fish to be and things like that. Yeah, it took a minute, but also I wasn't sure, like I don't know if this is going to be the whole t-shirt design or if I just have like a smaller, more detailed version. I don't know. I'll feel it out this week and see how I feel, or I might put a poll up or something. But yeah, in terms of channel growth and stuff, it's like I feel like if you pay people to be here, it's just you're just doing yourself a disservice because it's like, oh, I've done nothing to work at this, and now people are showing up for the fact that I've paid for them, which I'm not gonna do. So, you know, we ride. Oh my God, what is happening? Why have we lost the ability to strike? Yeah, exactly. The feedback from real life people is always going to be more, um, oh, I know why. Is going to be more like valuable to me than just having a load of bots sitting in my stream, to push me up some ranking that I don't really care about. Like I've got definitely more than enough to chat about, even if I'm talking to myself. It doesn't really matter to me because, like I posted a couple of shorts on YouTube the other day and they've had like a couple hundred views or something. And that was just like, I think I put like two hashtags on it. Like it wasn't even, and it's not a load of views. It doesn't matter, but it's still people like seeing something that they might not have otherwise seen. So yeah, it's an interesting balance to try and strike anyway. But we ride. I don't know if I like that. I'll leave that. I'll come back to it. God damn it. I don't know why it does that. Like, you can hold the shape and it'll make your shape, but in Procreate I can change all the angle and how wide it is and things like that, but I can't do that in Fresco. Get out of here. But I can do that in Fresco, so pros and cons. Oh yeah. It's a really small crab, but I didn't want it to be massive. I wanted it to kind of be like um, I don't know, like a thing that people don't notice right away, I guess. So it's obviously working, like, whoa, that's not an arc, Fresco. That's not an arc. Was it that bad? I'll tell you what, I am really looking forward to getting some food after this, because I was an idiot and didn't eat anything today yet. It's like it's like nearly 2 p.m. So hey. Well, yeah, I mean it's 5 a.m. for you. I would not be expecting you to eat anything anytime soon. Okay, I think outside inking is done. I'm gonna pull down to 10. I'm gonna finish the that's the eraser, for God's sake. I'm gonna finish these panel designs, I think, and then we're gonna close it out. 4 p.m. yesterday. Yeah, I ate at 6 p.m. yesterday, I think. I'm gonna put these on a different layer because it's all white. And I want to keep it kind of straight to the edges. So I'm just gonna pull down Where's the opacity button? There we go. An American breakfast. Well, it depends on whose house you're in, right? So if I have an American breakfast, I'm going to be thinking of like pancakes, bacon, syrup, or butter. But also like a freaking grapefruit. Like, what is it with eating grapefruit for breakfast? Also, I hate grapefruit. I think it's vile. But yeah, I don't really know. I've never really considered what an American breakfast would count as outside of what we have in the UK, you know? So what would you class as an American breakfast, Soul? Anything fat? Well, you said it, not me. Mind you, what would you consider a Scottish breakfast? No idea about Scottish cuisine, but you know of the English breakfast. Well, there's also a Scottish breakfast too, which is similar, but you get black pudding, patty scone. So it's similar. But yeah, I mean, that's not healthy at all. That's fatty and clogging your arteries and that, so what can be said? Alright, I don't know why I'm trying to get these so perfect. It's not supposed to be, so I'm just gonna accept that that's the way that it is. I'm gonna merge that down if I can find the button. There we go. Perfect. And now it's all on the same layer. Haggis. I've never had haggis for breakfast, but I think some places do it. And if you ever have opportunity to eat haggis, I would recommend it. However, what I will say is that vegetarian haggis is way nicer than classic haggis. So do with that what you will. What is it? So haggis is like which organ do they use? I can't remember. So they use like, is it a bladder? So it's like awful. So you know, like organs, so heart, liver, lungs. They mix it with oats, onions, suet, and spices. It used to be boiled in a sheep's stomach, but now it's synthetic. And you tend like it's so we have Burns Night for the poet Robbie Burns on the 25th of January, and we have Haggis, Neeps and Tatties. But yeah, so he did a poem called Address to a Haggis, and you have to address the haggis before you eat it. And it's like, yeah, it's an excuse to get pissed, I think. But yeah, just vegetarian haggis is way nice. Oh my god, what are you doing, Fresco? You are just really testing me today. Yeah, I mean, I've tried the original too, and that's it really put me off for life. It's yeah, it's just not for me. So Fresco is really not enjoying these arcs. Dude, come on. I have to freehand it like a peasant. That's not very parallel at all, is it? It's so hard to draw when you've got a vector brush though, because of the alright, we're giving up. Because of the brush taking ages to catch up. Black pudding, I am a fan of black pudding. Yeah, but it is made of blood. So yeah. Isla Lewis has a place called Stornoway. Stornoway black pudding is said to be the best black pudding. Oh. So, oh, Jesus Christ. I want to copy you, please. It's all coming out now that I don't know how to use Adobe Fresco. That's fine though. I'm going to do this on a different layer and then I'll just duplicate it. Only 9 minutes left. I'm going to get myself a bagel, toasted bagel with an egg. It's going to be the most beautiful thing I've ever eaten. I don't know if I want these to be perfectly circular, to be honest with you, so I'm just going to forget that. I'm going to like follow this chunky dial thing. I love breakfast food. Breakfast food is like top tier. I do love pancakes, so like, oh. Actually, one of my favorite breakfasts I've ever had was a crepe. So it was like thin pancake, so French style pancake with like chorizo and honey and rocket. And it was a savory crepe, but oh my god, it was so good. My mouth's watering. I'm so looking forward to getting some breakfast. Yeah, man, it's good to have you. Good to see you. Thanks for showing up. I'll catch you online very shortly, I imagine. Yeah, thanks for coming along. And I'll post as well when the design is live and ready to get from Teespring if you're interested. Okay, so I think we're coming to the end of the stream there, so oh sorry, I didn't realize you'd gone there. Yeah, man. Thanks for checking out those designs on there. On Teespring there's going to be more coming, obviously, as I start doing some more designs. It's been so long since I've updated anything. I'll catch you later though, so I'm gonna finish up here. I'm gonna go and get something to eat. I'm gonna get another cup of coffee and I'm going to hopefully finish this design today. If not, by the time we get on the next stream I can show you the finished project that I've done, and then hopefully get it live on Teespring if anybody would like to order it. So thanks to everyone who dropped in today. This video will be out on YouTube, a little bit edited though, so it's not 3 hours long. But yeah, it's been great, and I will catch you on Sunday. It was 12 till 4 GMT or UTC +1, so that's my time zone. That's when I'll next be on. If you want to come and join for a completely different style of art, I'm hoping to do the Twitch alerts in pixels and a bit of animation as well. So that's going to be it from me for this time. I'm starving, and I'll catch you all in the next one.